Um, I'm good now. I don't know who's all gonna be on this drum, but I gotta talk about what happened today with the Eagles. So I just gotta talk about it. Um, I'm I've been telling people this stuff for weeks now, but uh, let me just get started. Service tag. I gotta be so loud. Um, all right. What up? What up? What up? What's going on, everybody? This is Dom Lewis here, episode 60 of the Philly Sports 444 podcast. Um, man, it's been quite a, I guess, a crazy week and a half for the Eagles. Considering everything that they have gone through um, in the public eye, and today it didn't get any better because they fired their. Well, I don't want to say fired because to me it sounds like they just mutually parted ways. But Doug Pederson is no longer the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, and I think it's good for him, and I think it's good for the Eagles. But the way they did it was just really, really in poor taste. And for people who say this organization is such a class organization, um, that definitely wasn't classy the way they did it today. Just in my opinion, it just really was poor. Um, how they went about, how they went about everything, just really awful in my opinion. Um, Almost like they reassured him that he would be here and then pulled the rug from under him. And I'll get into all of it because, I mean, fans of the Eagles have seen what they've done for the last, 2 weeks now? And, well, they've seen what they've done for an entire season. And it just hasn't been good. It hasn't been good. And quite honestly, they deserve this. um, they deserve to be like in this predicament that they're in because they really made some poor choices over the last few years as far as like drafting and roster construction. And it just all came to a head, I think. And this is just what it is. This is what it's going to be for like the next couple of years. It's going to be a franchise that's rebuilding and they're not going to be very good. And I'm not even sure they're going to pick the right person to lead this franchise for the next few years to come. So um, I don't know. We'll see. But let me just get into like what happened today. So, well, let me start by first giving some facts about Doug Pederson. Doug Pederson, of course, is the first coach in Eagles history to win a Super Bowl. He is the guy. Like he is the Super Bowl winning coach for the Philadelphia Eagles. Period. Andy Reid led them there. Dick Vermeil led them there, but Doug Pederson got the job done, and they won the Super Bowl with Doug Pederson. So he is that forever. He is the first, and right now he is the only. So that's point number one. Point number two: Doug Peterson finished with an overall record over his 5 years as head coach, 42-37-1. So outside of the Super Bowl year, he had a 7-win season, a 9-win season, another 9-win season, and then a 4-win season, which was this past year. Of those 5 seasons, they had 3 winning seasons, so 2 9-7 seasons, and then the 13-3 season, which was the Super Bowl year. Um, 2 division titles, and then one season where they were overall the number one seed in the NFC, and they ended up winning the conference. Um, and I think the biggest key to that is the seasons where they went 9-7 and made the playoffs. The Eagles managed to, if they were doing bad in the season, they managed to turn it around, and they managed to. Doug managed to get these guys going to a point where He made some type of coaching adjustment where they managed to win enough games to get into the playoffs. And now, granted, things falling their way, but they've done enough to win games. And um, you have to credit the coach for being a leader of men and being a motivator. And I think that's what you can't lose that in everything that's happened with Doug and the Eagles. And I think that the biggest thing to take away from this is that he's a player's coach. People always say Doug's players coach. His players always say they love him. People that are not even here anymore talk about how they love Doug Pederson. So he has to get respect there. Um, Now, there's some bad with Doug Peterson. I feel like Doug overall was besides, and he granted he won the Super Bowl, but I think they've been very mediocre with Doug as the head coach. Um, as far as like if you think about all the seasons outside of the Super Bowl season, they've been pretty much a mediocre franchise. They haven't been like the Green Bay Packers or the Pittsburgh Steelers, or um, they haven't been like any of the top tier organizations in the respective conferences. They haven't been that way. Now, granted, that just may be because the NFC East is just ever changing. There hasn't been a repeat champion in the NFC East since I think 2003, 2004 when the Eagles won as repeat champions. But at the same time, um, they haven't they haven't been dominant in the conference, or they haven't even been dominant in the division. Uh, there's always, I feel like there's always times where Eagles are trying to scrap for position or scrap for trying to get into the playoffs. And I think overall, I think Doug did a good job, but I think that he is not a coach where he wasn't a coach where other teams feel that he wasn't a coach like Belichick. Um, he wasn't a coach like Reed, although he comes from the Andy Reid tree. He wasn't a coach where like you gonna get out coached by Doug Peterson. He was never that type of coach. Um, he did some good and he did some bad overall. And I think that um, I think that he was good while it lasted. He helped, steer the franchise back to and he helped solidify the franchise again because after the debacle with um, Chip Chip Kelly, Eagles were like in disarray and kind of like where they are right now. And I think Doug helped steer the ship right. Um, but I just think the way things went down with him being let go today, he deserved a little bit more respect than that. He deserved more respect than just um, being called down, being summoned down to Florida and being let go after everything he did for this franchise. I think, um, granted, he's not like the world's smartest coach or the world's best coach, but he did some good things for this franchise and he deserved a lot more than what he got today. Um, and I think overall, I think the issue is that Eagles didn't even fix their problem. They didn't fix the main issue with the organization, which is their GM. And he's still going to be in power and he's still going to be picking the players and he has not lost anything out of all of this. Out of everything that has happened with the Eagles, Howie Roseman has still managed to escape any kind of reprimand or anything. And it's just, this is where your organization is going to be for the next, I guess, 3 to 5 years, I would say. You got that guy picking players. You got that guy constructing your roster. That guy got your team. He got the organization and the terrible cap situation that they're in. And this is just what it's going to be for the next few years because um, I can't see a way out of this. They're clearly going through a rebuild. And that's one of the reasons that Doug was relieved of his duties today. So um, this news drops around 2 p.m. today. I'm working and I hit the news. So I'm like texting everybody I know, letting them know like Doug Peterson is no longer the head coach. And then they said a press conference is coming at I guess it came at like 4 o'clock, 4:30, something like that. Where Jeffrey Lurie came out and talked about, Doug Peterson being let go. And these are a few things I took away from the press conference today. So Lurie comes out and he says, um, Doug didn't deserve to be let go. That's one of the top things that kind of like raised the antenna for me. Uh, that he didn't deserve to be let go. So I'm like, okay, he didn't deserve to be let go. So why'd you fire him then? Why'd you let him go? Um, he's saying things like he looked at the overall organization and he's trying to beat around the bush. But basically, what he was trying to say is that the Eagles are rebuilding and Doug wasn't trying to rebuild. Um, Doug wasn't going to be willing to tank, and that's what the issue was. Like he wasn't willing to tank games or lose games on purpose. And I think that even when the last game um, when he put in Nate Sudfeld, I think that now. Um, I think partially he wanted Sudfeld to play because I think Sudfeld had been like, he had been a good soldier. Sudfeld had been on the team for so long, and he kind of wanted him to get some time because he knew like this may be the end of Sudfeld's career. So he wanted him to at least see the field one more time, and I get that. Not saying that it was right, but I understand what he did. At the same time, I think that Doug understood like he didn't want to. He understood that his players didn't want to lose the game. His players were actually going to fight to win, and Doug was going to coach to win. And I think now, seeing what happened today, clearly was a front office move that they needed to lose that game in order to get the better draft pick. So, um, Eagles are clearly tanking now. They're clearly in a mode where they're going to rebuild for the next few years. And Doug, it seems to me that Doug didn't want to be a part of that. And it's not just that. It seemed to me that Doug didn't want to be a part of a rebuild. He wanted to pick his own staff and he wanted to have some say in picking players. And the Eagles wouldn't let him do any of that. They wanted to pick his staff. They didn't want him to pick. They didn't want him to pick who he wanted to pick um, on his staff. So I know he wanted to promote Press Taylor, from what I heard, and Eagles didn't want that. And I agree with that. Actually, I agree. Why promote Press Taylor? What has he done in order to be promoted? I mean, I don't think he's that good of a coach, to be honest. I mean, I don't really know what he does, but from what I do know about him, he's not that good of a coach. He's no world beater. So you're promoting Press Taylor for what? What does he do, and what does he do for your franchise to make them better, to bring the offense up to speed, or to bring the offense into what you see now in the NFL? What does he do? Um, and continuously passing over Deuce, who I don't even know if Deuce is going to be, this great offensive mind, but clearly in the NFL, it's an offensive league now, and you need innovation. You need innovation in your offense, and I don't think Doug's offense was like that, and I don't think Press Taylor would even add that to his offense. So seeing that, I mean, I get why Doug was upset why he couldn't pick his own staff, and I would get why he would be frustrated and be upset about that. Um, I think that Doug, over the last few years of being the head coach, he deserved to have a say in the players being here. He deserved to have a say in who he wanted to be on his staff. And I think that the Eagles didn't totally trust Doug with, his coaches. And I think that wore on Doug over the last few years. From what I understand, um, Doug wanted to um, I think from what I understand, over the last few years, it had been wearing on Doug that they were just ultimately telling him what to do, and that he didn't get a chance to really, do what he wanted to do. He didn't have a say in a lot of things, and it really, really bothered him. And I think it just came to a head this year with the losing, with the issues with Carson Wentz, the issues with the coaching staff, the issues with who to play, the issues, everything. Losing, it just brings everything to a head, and I think that Doug Peterson just got tired of it. I think he got tired of it. So I can see why he parted ways. Um, I think that what's sad though, is because you let Doug go, but you keep Howie here. And listening to that brings to my second point in the press conference. There was no accountability for Howie Roseman whatsoever. Um, I just kept hearing Lori say, we're really confident in our football operations, and this is about our football operations and that about our football operations, but there was no blame on Howie Roseman. Actually, he got lauded today about the people that he's picked to be in football operations and um, being innovative and continuously changing uh, the staff. And what has he done for the team though? Like, what has he done for this actual roster? Bringing in these players that are too old, that are overpaid, underperforming, keeping players too long and they shouldn't have kept. What has he done for the roster? Like, I don't know what he's done in order for them to be successful as a roster. And I think that's where I have an issue, because this has been too long. Like, I get it. You get it. One year, 2 years, maybe you have 2 bad years. Okay. But the entire draft class of 2017, there's only two players that are left from that class that are still in the Eagles. And that's Bennett, which is the first round pick, which he should still be here, but he's actually due for um, a new contract, and Nick Gary, who was actually who we all know about Nick Gary and how bad he is and how he underperforms, and he actually went out this year on injured reserve. So they like him, but well, I should say Schwartz liked him, but he's not good at all. He's not that good at all. And I mean, there's losses and different games where you can single-handedly point the blame to him about how bad he played, and if he would have made this play here or that play there, they would have been in better positions to win. Like, the Eagles linebacking core has been terrible for years, and he is the main culprit of that. So, I don't get why. That's just shows you, like, okay, you're keeping this guy on this draft, pick you had from 2017. He's awful. He's terrible. Like, what are you being so loyal to him for? You haven't upgraded there. Um, we've can fans I know have been continuously saying, like, upgrade the receiving core, and I get it. They drafted some receivers last year, some quick guys who can't catch, quick guys who don't get open in space, quick guys who can't separate. So these guys still need to develop, and Eagles have failed to develop receivers for years. Um, they've had a different receiving coach ever since Doug Pederson was hired. Like, every single year that he's been on the staff or been the head coach, they've had a different receiver, and that may speak to Doug. But it also speaks to the draft picks. Like, are these guys elite enough? And then, I mean, the obvious thing is, like, they pass up on Justin Jefferson. They draft Jalen Rager, and everyone's wondering why you draft Rager there. Um, and Justin Jefferson has his breakout season. He has his rookie of the year season, and you're looking at it like, this is really bad. Like, this is a bad miss by you guys, and it's not that it happened once; it just continually happens to this team, and that can only lead to one person, the person who's picking the players, Howie Roseman. Like, this isn't good going forward, and now you're stuck because you got to make it work. You're not in a position where you can trade for players anymore because you're $70 million over the cap. You're in a really bad cap space right now. So you don't have any cap space. You're going to be probably really bad for the next few years. You're not going to be making any splashes in free agency. This is just what it's going to be. And I think that he should have been held way more accountable than he was today instead of being lauded. And it's just awful. And I can say today, I'm not ashamed, because I love the Eagles, but I know what they are. And I've been, on this road for months as far as who they going to be. Like, they're not a good team. I have been saying it. I didn't think it would be this bad this year, but I knew that they wouldn't be a good team. And now, letting Doug go, which I don't think was the wrong choice. I just think how they did it, as far as, like, they should have made the decision at the end of the year. Like, he should have been going on that Monday, and they should have let go of Roseman too. And the fact that they kept Roseman on and they let Howie go. I mean, they kept Roseman on and they let Doug go. Excuse me. And Howie hasn't been held accountable at all. I just think that speaks volumes to where this organization is going, and that's going nowhere. They're not going anywhere for the next few years. Like these other organizations in the NFC East are going to go up. Like Dallas is going to get better. I mean, they already have a good roster. Dallas is going to be better though. The Giants, they have good coaching. Even though he cried, Joe Judge, he's still a good coach, and he showed that his players play for him. Players play for Doug too, but like you know, this guy's a newcomer, first year head coach, and they're going to get better. They're going to get a lot better. They probably have some draft space, and then Washington football team, they won the division this year. They got some issues, but they're going to be better too. I think they got that young defense is going to, and they're all like they hit on their draft picks. Eagles haven't hit on any of their draft picks really. Um, I mean, the only draft picks you can say they hit on. I mean, they did considerably well with Bennett. Um, I don't know if um, I don't know if Jalen Hurts is going to be like their franchise QB. I don't know what he's going to be. I know that right now. I think that they're sticking with Carson Wentz. They're going to try to rebuild Wentz, which is the right thing to do. But you put yourselves in the position in the first place that you drafted this guy, um, and this kind of caused this chain of events. And I'm not saying this. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying that Carson shouldn't have been stronger. I don't know everything that's going on in Carson Wentz's head, but I just know that this chain of events, like drafting the QB, not getting him weapons, not getting him other teammates that he can actually build off of and actually grow with over the next few years, and really turn this franchise around and make them become an elite franchise for years to come. That's the issue. That's the bigger issue. It's not even about drafting Hurts. It is about drafting him, but it's like you could have got somebody else there. Why didn't you do that? Why did you set your quarterback up for failure? And that's the issue. That's the issue with the team. And that, like I said, that comes back to Roseman. And instead of being lauded, like you can't laud him. He has to pay for what he did. And because this has happened for so many years, because he had already, gone through all of this, not drafting well and these bad contracts and keeping players on 2 years too long and bringing back Peters, not only bringing back Peters, but giving him, and I was with him putting him at right guard, but you moved him to tackle and then you gave him a raise, and that cripples you because you can't pay anybody else. You can't pay Zach Ertz. And now look at your organization. Hurts is going to be going. I mean, Ertz is going to be going. Peters is going to retire. Like these, like you had cornerstones to your organization and you let them walk. And you didn't try hard enough to keep these players, I feel. I mean, this is bad GMing. This is bad on his part. This is bad. No accountability. No accountability. And you scapegoated Doug, you let him go. And I get it. Like you need somebody in here that can work with Carson and try to rebuild Carson Wentz because you got a lot invested in Carson Wentz and you need to get the most you can get out of him before you actually cut bait with him and trade him. But just the way you did Doug today, it could have been more honorable than that. It was awful the way they did it today, and he didn't deserve that. Um, it's just, and then like I said, you keep the GM. You don't do anything about the GM. It's just bad. No, I can say a positive thing I heard from the press conference because the media really drilled into Jeffrey Lurie today, and I credit them because they really got on him about some things, and he really kind of skirted around a lot of answers. But the media got on his behind today, and I respect him for that. Like I know the media in this town could be tough, but today they asked all the right questions. They wanted some real answers from him, and I feel like he didn't give real answers. I feel like he just kind of beat around the bush a lot. And that's what I expected him to do anyway. So it's not really a surprise to me, but and he said like there's not going to be a rush to. That was another thing he said in the press conference. There's not going to be a rush to get a head coach. Like they're going to take their time. And I get that. I get that, but ultimately you got Howie hiring the coach, and I don't really see. That kind of leads me to my next point because I don't really see um, a flashy candidate coming into this organization right now. They're going to hire. If you had to ask me, they're hiring Deuce Staley as their head coach. They're going to go through all of this extensive candidate search, and they're going to go through all of this. Um, you know, they're going to be all in the media, like this person is expected to be a candidate, this person, that person. They're going to hire Deuce Staley at the end of the day. He's been a good soldier for them. He sat there while the Eagles rebuilt. He sat there. He's been there while the Eagles won the Super Bowl. He's been there through the good times and the bad. He played for an organization. They're going to hire him. They're going to hire him to be the head coach, and they're going to hire him for this rebuild. Because you can't really tank in the NFL, but like they're going to hire him for this. They're going to hire him to go through this process, basically, of being bad for a few years. He'll probably be here for about 3.5 years, maybe 4 if he gets lucky. They may not improve by that time, and then they'll cut bait with him ultimately, and he'll have his chance because he have been a head coach in this league. But that's what I see right now. I don't see a flashy hire because I think the way that they did things today, it kind of turned people off, and I just don't see a coach or a coach is becoming a head coach for the first time, or even an experienced coach. I mean, because I definitely don't see an experienced coach coming in here. The fact that they're not willing to give up any kind of control as far as who they want to draft and a coach having a say in that right there is saying to me that, okay, you want to go with a guy that you can control. Okay, fine. You go to first time head coach. That's what you're going to do. Okay, whatever. They're going to go a guy that's just going to coach the team. That's not going to have a say in anything. This is who we picked. This is who we're pairing you up with as far as your staff. You go out there and coach and try to, win games, but you're not allowing him to coach to be successful. And I think that at the end of the day, like they just want a guy that they can control. They don't want to release any power. It's just, the power struggle with this organization is just crazy to me. And I get it. Like Jeffrey had a bad experience when he let Chip Hall have all that power, but at the same time, there's a way he could have scaled it back, and he just didn't. And I mean, he could have not given him all that power. He could have gave him, some say, and it could have been collaborative the way he wants to do it, and he didn't do it that way. And now they're in a situation where Howie's not willing to release any kind of power, and they're going to suffer. They're going to suffer for this. So they're going to be bad for the next few years. I think Doug deserved a lot better, like I said, for what he got today. And my best wishes to Doug. I really appreciate, like, as much as he got on my nerves, I appreciated the stuff that he did. And I remember I got to a point where I said that Doug Pederson could do no wrong in my eyes. Like, I remember reading his book, and I really felt like Doug Pederson he was a coach's coach. Like, he was just a guy that was born to coach. And I get it. He's not the smartest guy. He's not the smartest coach. But players love to play for the guy. And the Eagles they're not going to be like this. They're going to be bad. That's really I think fans have to get used to that. Like the Eagles are not going to be a good team for the next, I think, like I said, 3 to 5 years. They're just not going to be a good team. They're just not going to be. They can't be. Like, they're not going to have any kind of, I can't see them having any kind of innovation on offense. I can't see them being any kind of creative type of offense. They're not going to be up there with the Shanahans and the McVays and the Stefanskis. They're not going to be up there with those guys. And, definitely not up there with the Andy Reids or anything like that, or the Eric Bieniemys. Like, they're not going to be up there with those guys. They don't even have the talent to do that. So I just see them right now being a bad organization for the next couple of years. And I think what scares me is that at the end of the day, Howie's still going to be here. They're not going to get rid of that guy. And that's what sucks so bad about it, because he is not a good GM. He's just not. He cannot pick players. And I get it. Like 2017, he hit with all of his free agent acquisitions. He hit with all of them. He did a great job. Outside of that year, what has he done that has really blown the minds off of people? He hasn't really done anything to, like, wow you. as a GM besides that season. Same thing with Doug. I mean, but at least I can say that coaches like to play for Doug. People don't like Howie Roseman. It's been said when people have left here, people don't like Howie Roseman. They just don't like him. He's a weasel. A weasel, man. So I just think, like I said, fans need to get used to them being bad. And I think Deuce Staley's going to be the head coach of this team. They're going to go through this. They're gonna fool people. They're gonna try to wow people, and no, it's not going to happen. And I just think that they put themselves into a corner where they painted themselves as a really bad organization that screws people over. And maybe that's just not. Maybe they didn't paint themselves that way. Maybe that's just really who they are. Really weaselly snake kind of organization. That's how I feel about them right now. Like I know Doug said he's at peace with the situation and everything. I think he did. Listen, I give Doug a lot of credit for enduring stuff he had to deal with. Just from what I'm hearing today. And I think he'll be a head coach again in the league. I don't know. I don't know if it'll be this year, but he will be again eventually. I think that, and that's another thing. Like them firing him or them parting ways with him today, like they should have done it a while ago. They should have did it so that he had a chance to get that Chargers job, or definitely get a chance to get that Jets job. Like if he wanted to still coach, but they wanted to hold on and just waste time, and that's not right. That's not even fair to him. They're really bad at this thing. Like they're really bad. Jeffrey's really bad at PR stuff. He's awful at it. And Howie, all he does is hide, and they do this. They're two peas in a pod, man. They really do the same things. They really do. So I can't expect anything of this organization going forward, but except for them to be bad. And the shame of it all is that as bad as they're going to be, and as much as we complain about them, people still going to watch the Eagles. People still going to support the Eagles. And we shouldn't. We shouldn't if they're not going to try. Like, just because they know they got a rabid fan base, it's not cool to me. That's just taking advantage of people. So, I don't know, man. That's really all I got to say in the situation. I had to just, record something. And like I said, I don't think Doug didn't deserve it the way it happened today. I'm not saying he deserved to keep his job because I don't think he did. I think he did earn the right to be fired, even with winning the Super Bowl. But like the way that the Eagles went about it today, and the way they went about the entire situation, the way they went about it over the entire year, it just was really, really bad. I didn't see them at one point in time this year try to get better, except for when they bench Wentz and they started Hurts. And you know what? Even when them starting Hurts, like, excuse me, he won that one game, but like, and he played well in that Arizona game. But like, them last two games, he played awful. And it's like, I don't even have confidence that like Hurts can do the job. Like, you guys are just bad. You're a bad team. Chickens that came on the roost this year, and the Eagles deserve this. They deserved every bit of it. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens with Doug. We'll see what happens with the Eagles. I really, really, I'm disappointed as far as everything that happened, everything that's going on with the team right now, because it didn't have to get this way. It didn't have to be this way. But hey, I don't know. Maybe it'll be good in 2025. Who knows? But yeah, that's all I got to say on the matter. I'm just glad I was able to get this out. Listen, before I go, I want to shout out two people. This hoodie I got on, this was like a custom made hoodie for me for my birthday last not last year, 2 years ago, actually, when I turned 32. This is from Royal Heritage Tees, Cohen. Because I wear was dirty, so I've been wearing this hoodie, and I'm like, man, I forgot I had this gem. I really like it, so I really appreciate them for making this for me. So thank you, and I want to shout out my god sister Monica Holland. She has a craft store, or not a craft store. She does crafts. So follow Emblem Crafts, MLYNN Crafts on Instagram. She just made this really, really dope. I forget what you call them, like the big coffee cups. She made this really big. She made this one for B for her birthday, and it was really, really just dope. Um, Blue, and her name's all over it. It's really, really cool. So I know she makes like wine glasses and things like that. So check her out, please. She makes custom stuff. She made this really, really dope one for DJ Mike Scott because he's a Raiders fan. So she made this Raiders one, really, a tumbler. That's what it's called, tumbler. Really, really dope one for him. And yeah, please check her out, Emily Crafts. Okay, I told her I would shout her out on my next podcast. Forgot to shout her out in the last one, but I'm shouting her out today. So, Monica, I love you. And listen, it's just time for you to really, really do. If you're gonna do this thing, do it. So, really, really proud of you. Keep going. William and Marie, thank you again for the hoodie. Appreciate it. Limited edition hoodie. And all right, guys, listen. That's all I got to say. I'm going to try to cut this audio up tonight so that it can be out by tomorrow morning. It'll be available on Spotify, and Apple and Google, and also available on YouTube. I'm trying to post some clips on. I got I got a TikTok now, so I'm trying to post it on TikTok as well as some clips of it. But I appreciate you guys for tuning in, and yeah, Eagles gonna be bad. Eagles gonna be bad. Next pod, I'll talk about the Sixers on the next pod. Right now they're losing. But there's a whole bunch of things going on with the Sixers right now. But I think they'll still be a good team. Just not the time to talk about them right now. I just think that with everything that's happened with the Eagles over Tank Gate and now firing the head coach or relieving the head coach of his duties and keeping the main culprit, the GM, that's something to say about your organization, and that saying that, hey, I want to tank, I want to fail. I don't want to get better. And that's all I see right now. All right. So I'm signing off. Audio posted, try to have it posted by tomorrow morning. And until next time, peace.